All right, we are going to be going over our Unit 3 review. So go ahead and check your answers as we go. So, number 1, proof. It says given line P is parallel to line R and 1 is congruent to 2. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in for our reasons. So P is parallel to R because that is given, and 1 is congruent to 2 because that is given. So we have these two parallel lines, P and R. If we know that those two lines are parallel, then we know that 1 and 3 are congruent because those are alternate interior angles. Okay, then we know that 1 and 2 are congruent. So what that means is 1 equals 3, and then 1 is also the same as 2. So 2 and 3 have to be congruent by the transitive property. Okay, and then once we have proved that 2 and 3 are congruent, then N and M have to be congruent by the corresponding angles converse. Make sure not to forget the word converse tomorrow. All right, down to number 2, it says AB is parallel and C and D are parallel. Oops. That's not what I wanted. So A and B are parallel. C and D are parallel. So both sets of lines are parallel. So that helps us out a lot. We can prove a lot of things here. So if that is true, then we're going to start with our two givens. So A is parallel to B, C is parallel to D, and that is given. Okay, we are trying to prove that 15 and 3 are congruent. So I'm going to start just with angle 3. And like I don't know if I said this, but you can solve this multiple ways. So this is just one way. So we know that angle 3 is congruent to angle 11 because those two form an F for corresponding angles. Okay, so 3 and 11 are congruent. Prove that. So now we can prove that 11 is congruent to 15 because those two are alternate interior angles. So 11 is congruent to 15. And if 3 is congruent to 11 and 11 is congruent to 15, then that means angle 3 is congruent to angle 15 by the transitive property. And that is it for our second proof. All right, on number 3, we're going to have plenty of options. Even though the lines aren't parallel, these are going to have the same angle relationships. So I'm just going to do one example of each. So same side interior, you could do 4 and 11. Okay. Alternate interior, 6 and 15. Vertical angles, 1 and 4. Corresponding angles, 4 and 12. A linear pair, 6 and 8. And then alternate exterior, 5 and 16. Like I said, there's going to be lots of options, but this is just one for each type. Okay, true or false? When two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, so that you have same side interior angles, so those two that I put dots on, they are never both acute. This is true. Since they have to add up to equal 180, they cannot both be acute, otherwise they won't get up to 180. All right, true or false? You can prove two lines are parallel using only vertical angles, so angles that are across the vertex. That is completely false. False, 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 false. Don't forget that. All right, number 6. Two lines are cut by a transversal, then alternate interior angles are always congruent. This is false because it doesn't say parallel lines. It just says two lines. It has to be two parallel lines. Kind of a trick question. All right, number 7. So it says 13. Actually, I'm going to highlight it. 13 is congruent to 17. Excuse me. So 13 is congruent to 17. Okay, they share line D, but then 13 uses A and 17 uses C. So that means A has to be parallel to C for number 7. All right, next one, 4 and 9. Here's 9. 4, where's 4? There's 4. Okay, so the lines that form these two, you have line B, and then you have D and E. So those are alternate exterior angles. So D has to be parallel to E. Okay, then we're going to have 20 and 21 are supplementary. So 20 and 21, they're going to be same side interior. This line and this line create angle 20. Then we have this line and this line for 21. So that means A would have to be parallel to B. Then 8 and 19. So 19 and 8, they're vertical angles. So this is none. Then we have our last one, 10 and 23. So 10 and 23. So 10 uses this line and this line. 23 uses that same line and then C. So that means that B would have to be parallel to C. All right, this one we did in class. Y and 77 are going to add up. So that means Y is 103, 101 and X. So that means X is 79. So Y equals 103, X equals 79. All right, number 13. What is the slope of the line perpendicular to this line? So we're going to first have to solve for Y. So we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. Negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 12. Then we're going to divide by negative 3. And y is going to equal a positive 2/3 x minus 4. So since it wants perpendicular, we need the opposite reciprocal. So opposite sign, our slope here was 2/3. So our opposite sign is going to be negative, and then we have to flip the fraction over. So negative 3/2. Okay, on to number 14. Slope of the line parallel to this that goes through 1, 1. 1, 1. There we go. So again, we're going to have to solve for y. So 6x plus 2y equals 4. Subtract 6x from both sides. 2y equals negative 6x plus 4. Divide everything by 2. And y equals negative 3x plus 2. Okay, so the slope we're going to be using, our m, is going to be negative 3. And then our x1, y1 is going to be the point 1, 1. We're going to plug it into the formula y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So we're going to have y minus 1 equals negative 3 times x minus 1. So we're going to distribute that negative 3. So we're going to have negative 3x plus 3. We have to multiply negative 3 times negative 1. So that's going to give a positive. Last thing, add 1, add 1. Y equals negative 3x plus 4. Okay, next one, write the equation of the line perpendicular. So again, we're going to have to solve for y. So we're going to have 3x plus 4y equals 4. Subtract 3x from both sides. 4y equals negative 3x plus 4. Divide by 4. You're going to get y equals negative 3/4 x plus 1. So we have negative 3/4 as our slope. So the perpendicular slope is going to be positive 4/3. So we're going to use that. And then we're going to use this point 6, negative 3. So again, we're using y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus negative 3 equals 4/3 of x minus 6. Distribute that 4/3. So we're going to have 4/3 x, 4/3 times -6. You can just multiply in your calculator 6 times, in parentheses, 4/3, and you're going to get 8. And then our last step is subtracting 3 from both sides. So y equals 4/3 x minus 11. And that is the equation of the line perpendicular to the original one. All right, 16. We set these up in class. You're going to add them up to equal 180, add it up to equal 180. So the equations that you're going to get once you simplify it, you're going to get 3x plus y equals 61, and 4x minus y equals 65. From there, your y's will cancel. You're going to get 7x equals 126. So x equals 18. When you plug that back in, you're going to get y equals 7. So that is your answer as an ordered pair, 18, 7. All right, on number 17, we talked about this one in class as well. So we're going to have x squared plus 2x plus 30 plus 10x plus 65 equals 180. You're going to combine your like terms. So x squared plus 12x plus 95 equals 180. You're going to have to subtract your 180 over. So you're going to have x squared plus 12x minus 85 equals 0. That's going to factor into x plus 17 and x minus 5. Then when you set those both equal to 0, you're going to get x equals -17 and positive 5. All right, going down to just some factoring. So factors of 36, -36, that'll add up to 5. You're going to get x plus 9, x minus 4. Set them both equal to 0, and you're going to get x equals -9 and x equals 4. All right, number 19, you have to get everything on the other side. So you're going to have to subtract 10x and subtract 144. Let's see. Factors of 144 that are going to give you 10. It's going to be 8 and 18. So x minus 18, x plus 8 equals 0 equals 0. So you're going to get 18 and -8 as your two answers. Okay, are A, B, and C, D parallel, perpendicular, or neither? So you're going to have to use your slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So the slope of AB, we're going to have 4 minus 0 over 1 minus 0, which gives you 4 over 1, which is 4. Okay, that one's pretty easy. We're going to have this one. So we're going to have 6 minus 8 over 10 minus 2. 6 minus 8 is -2. 10 minus 2 is 8. That's going to simplify to -1/4. So we have -1/4 and we have +4, which is the same thing as 4 over 1. So 1 is negative, 1 is positive. They are flipped. So these lines are perpendicular. All right, last one. So we have solved the system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this bottom one through by 2 and this top one by -5. Remember, we need one to be positive and one to be negative. So I'm going to make that y negative. So if we do that, we're going to have -15x plus 10y equals -10. And then we're going to have 10x minus 10y equals 20. Okay, so we're going to have -5x equals 10. Remember, we're just adding. So divide by -5 on both sides. And x equals -2. So then we're going to go ahead and just plug that back in. So 3 times -2 minus 2y equals 2. So -6 minus 2y equals 2. Add 6, add 6. -2y equals 8. Divide by -2, and y equals -4. So your final answer should be -2, -4. All right, you guys, that is about it for our test. Make sure you do the quizzes. Third period's quizzes code for third is, let's see, third period. You guys are 163063. Fourth period, you guys are 719854. And fifth period, y'all's code is 731217. All right, come see me in the morning if you have any questions.